What's up guys, Ghost here, and today I wanted to talk about the next Battlefield game. Battlefield 2016, let's call it, and just generally what the future holds for Battlefield. Obviously, I think everyone can agree that Battlefield 4 is starting to get a little stale at the moment. Of course, DICE are still creating content for the game in the form of map packs and weapons, which is really nice because everyone can play these maps whether they have premium or not. But that still only seems to inject a temporary burst of interest around the game, and within a few weeks or at the most months, everyone's gotten new to that content, and at the end of the day, well, it's still Battlefield 4. That doesn't surprise me at all. If you look at the release dates of past Battlefield games, you start to realise that those of us who didn't really consider Hardline as a worthy, true Battlefield experience have been waiting for a long time. We got Bad Company 2 on March the 2nd, 2010, and then just a year and a half later, on October the 25th, 2011, we got Battlefield 3. 2 years down the line, we then got Battlefield 4 on October the 29th, 2013. So we have now well surpassed the 2-year release of Battlefield 4 back in October, and we haven't gotten so much as an inkling as to what the next Battlefield game will be. Obviously, yes, we had Hardline, but a large percentage of the Battlefield community didn't even accept that as a proper Battlefield title. So I feel like a lot of people, including myself, have started to want to know just what kind of Battlefield game we'll actually be getting next year. Now, in my mind, I think we can almost definitely rule out a new IP. We all saw what happened with Hardline, and whilst I do commend DICE for actually making something new instead of yet another sequel, I seriously doubt they're going to go down that route again, when they have so many other loved spin-offs like 2142 or Bad Company 2 that they can focus on. So I'm leaning towards either 2143 or Bad Company 3, or perhaps even another wartime era setting like 1942 or Vietnam. It seems pretty obvious to me that out of these possibilities, the community are screaming out for a Bad Company 3. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's what we see. Of course, it's also entirely possible that we get the anticlimactic announcement of Battlefield 5, where you can pilot Little Birds and M1 Abrams tanks. Again, that's not to say that I wouldn't find a 5th incarnation of the series fun or appealing, but I was definitely left with a diminished experience when moving on from Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4. Yes, the game was on a new engine, had some new weapons, maps, and all the rest of it, but there were still a lot of similarities there for me. Like, for instance, the vehicles being the same. There really wasn't that much new that they pushed with the game, except for Levolution, and we all know how amazed we are by that these days. So no, I'd much prefer to see a Bad Company or 2142 sequel. They're both very well-known games and carry the pedigree that comes with the Battlefield title. So it should be a safe bet for EA. But from a gamer's perspective, I'd be far more excited to revisit one of these series I haven't put foot in for years, rather than the same universe I've been experiencing for the past 4 years. So moving on, I wanted to talk a little on the subject of jets, or aircraft in general, and my little wish list for things I'd like to see changed. It's by no means certain that there will even be jets in whatever Battlefield game we get, since there were none in Bad Company or 2142, but I think it highly unlikely given the lack of vehicles in Hardline. Now, 2-seater jets have been spoken of many times over the years. They of course existed in Battlefield 2, and we've been campaigning to get them back ever since. However, as cool as they sound and as much as I'd like to record an episode of Wingman in a 2-seater jet, DICE would have to figure out a way to make this fun, practical, and balanced. A task easier said than done. I would also condone many of the changes put forth by Battle Nonsense in his recent 1982 video series, which involved going back to basics from Battlefield 2. So no 3D spotting, no auto repair or heals, and limited ammo, meaning you would have to retreat to your deployment to restock on ammo and repair your armor. To balance this, however, the amount of spammable, cheap, and easy projectiles like stingers and igglers would have to be drastically reduced from the current state we see in Battlefield 4. Furthermore, the jets and other air vehicles would be more potent, meaning that if you make your limited munitions count, which would all have some form of skill involved, you could actually make a big difference to the battlefield. Now for me, 313 speed control I can take or leave. I think it still offers a decent skill ceiling to dogfighting, which is far from easy to master, but I can also see the benefits of doing away with this system and going back to something more versatile. And of course, a brand new Battlefield game would be the time and place to implement this. A system also needs to be in place to punish bailers and people who simply use air vehicles as taxis. Once again, I like Chris's idea of having a pilot loadout which would be automatically equipped when you spawn in an air vehicle. You would only have a pistol to defend yourself with and perhaps a repair tool in case of emergency landings. This would mean spawning in a vehicle just to get to Recon's camping paradise wouldn't be possible. However, I still feel like people would bail mid-dogfight simply to deny you of the kill, and then plummet to their death and take a suicide rather than giving you that kill. So maybe a timer needs to be implemented on the ejector seat as well. Another idea from Chris I'd like to reiterate is the use of close air support, whereby teammates could paint targets and designate airstrikes which the attack jet and attack chopper could then respond to. Now when I saw flares were going to be in Battlefield 4, I got super excited as I believed this system would also be in the game, but as you know, the role of flares in Battlefield 4 are far from it. What a disappointment. Now furthermore, I'd like to see stealth jets take on a more involving role. Right now stealth jets are just boring to fly. Sure, they've been improved since you can now take out infantry with the cannons, but when I'm in the stealth jet, I constantly find myself becoming bored and feel like I lack purpose. On the other hand, we can't have things like they were in Battlefield 3, where two jets working in tandem with rocket pods is simply too powerful, at least with the spotting system in place. Another thing that needs looking at is commander mode. I much preferred the old way of having an infantry player simultaneously act as the commander rather than being given the role in Battlefield 4 but not being able to actually join in the round. I just find being the commander in Battlefield 4 incredibly boring. And last but not least, premium. I would love to see the premium model change so that everyone could have access to the maps and those who actually paid for premium can play them. As it stands, the amount of servers that run premium maps pale in significance to those that run only vanilla maps, so this is obviously a problem. Therefore, DICE need to find something else they can offer in place of this that will still make the premium service worth buying. I don't mind weapons being premium, only as long as they don't have any big advantage over the vanilla weapons, and a pay-to-win scenario must be avoided at all costs. Just look at the recent case of Star Wars Battlefront. If you pay $10 extra to get a deluxe edition, you instantly unlock arguably the most powerful blaster in the game, which you otherwise unlock at rank 25. So there you go guys, these are a few things that have been buzzing around my head. Obviously there are lots of infantry centric things in the game that could do with a change, like the massive amount of cheap gadgets, but for this video I thought I'd put my suggestions and opinions where they're most valued, since I've probably placed the most amount of time into flying the jets in Battlefield. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the matter. What Battlefield game would you like to see and what would you change about the series? As always, thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.